Welcome everyone to the first round of the DMP 2025, the Polish Drift Championship. We are here. My name is Brandon Carr, and we're joined in the booth by Kian Reedy. It is going to be an amazing event. We're at the top 16 for semi-pro. Oh, have we got Kian? I don't know what's going on with Kian Reedy, but either way, we have got some insane battle action up ahead ready for today, and it is going to be absolutely crazy. As you can see, everyone's getting the track prepared. All the marshals are getting the lines repainted from qualifying yesterday. We did have a lot of it getting spread across the track, so hopefully we'll have some amazing battles, and there's plenty going on today. Just trying to figure out what's going on with my co-commentator. Don't know where he is right now. I think we did have a couple of microphone issues at the start. But here you go. We have our top 16 bracket right here. We've got Patrick Detmer having a buy run at the start. We have 3 buy runs total in this top 16 so far. And then we have got, I am going to absolutely butcher these names. Osvacek versus Camel. We have Burian versus Magdalena. We have Mikhail and Ivan. And honestly, these battles are going to be absolutely crazy. These have been absolutely putting it on the line yesterday for qualifying, pushing as hard as they could to get in. And I'm very excited to see what happens. And as you can see, they're just making sure, you can see the tractor down there.
Mamy oczywiście długą, prostą, na której zawodnicy mają się rozpędzić i ta linia, którą teraz widzicie na ekranie, ona wyznacza punkt inicjacji. W tym miejscu zawodnicy muszą jechać już pełnym kątem. No i pierwsza część trasy to jest inner clip 1, tu gdzie są te 3 linie. Idealnie jest wtedy, kiedy zawodnik jest przednim prawym kołem przy tarce. Przechodzimy do zony zewnętrznej numer 1. Ona nie jest na krawędzi, więc tam jest trochę zapasu, ale lepiej nie wylatywać. Następnie mamy szykanę, zona zewnętrzna numer 2, przed nią strefa do odhamowania, czyli tak zwany diesel zone. Zona numer 3 w tym drugim łuku tam na zewnętrznej. Zawodnicy muszą zejść do środka, żeby złapać zonę numer 4, którą widzimy w tym momencie na ekranie. I przed nami jeszcze 2 zony, czyli zona numer 5 i 6. W tym momencie widzimy zonę numer 5, tu już jest strefa odhamowania, więc tu trzeba tę prędkość wytracić. I trzeba ją wytracić odpowiednio, żeby złapać zonę numer 6 i teraz bardzo ważna rzecz, nie można w zonie 6, raczej przed zoną numer 6 wylecieć na tarkę, no bo sędziowie bardzo mocno zwracali uwagę na to, że takie wypadnięcie kołami na tarkę, no oznacza po prostu 0.
And there you have it. There is the layout for today in battles. I do believe that Kian is back. I just heard him testing. There we go. So yes, this is Kian Reedy, who's my co-commentator. What are you thinking today?
Some mic issues there. Yeah, I'm really excited looking at this bracket here for semi-pro. I'm super excited. We've got a lot of good drivers coming up against each other, and I cannot wait to get this kicked off, to be honest, Brandon. This is going to be a hell of a day for everybody in attendance, everybody watching on the streams. I can't wait.
Definitely is going to be an amazing day. As you can see, all the lines have just been repainted, so I think we should be good to go shortly as we await our first battle. But look at the absolutely gorgeous weather today at this track. All the spectators are getting into the grandstands, into their viewing areas, getting ready to watch some drifting, and it's going to be a good day. It's going to be a very good day.
Yeah, absolutely. I think there's a little bit of wind there today, so hopefully track might be a little bit cooler than yesterday. We had a lot of grip there yesterday with the amount of heat that was down on track. So as we look here, we have our amazing judges. So we have Karol Joblinski, David Callas. I'm going to butcher all of these names. These are the last 2 names I cannot get. But yes, all our amazing judges there, very well experienced, can see everything like hawks down on track. They will see absolutely everything, any mistake that is made. So they have some amount of work to do today. We're going to have some very tight, close battles there today as well. So they're going to be sweating by the end of the day, I think.
I'd say so, for sure. It's not an easy job to be in the judging booth. And Well, no matter what, someone's going to be unhappy. So they've got the hardest job of all, because in the end, especially in battles format, there's always going to be someone going home. So it's, yeah, hats off to them. Judges have probably got one of the hardest jobs I've ever seen in drifting. So, but let's not forget to mention about how many staff members are on the track, involved both with marshalling. You've got everyone doing the gridding, staffing the main paddock, making sure that everyone's happy and fine. And then you've got the TV crew, and it's just, honestly, the scale of this operation is insane. So a massive thank you to everyone who puts all of their time in to make this possible. And a thank you to the sponsors as well, who also helped to make this possible. It has been a great opportunity for us, for everyone, to become a part of this amazing championship. And obviously the 2025 season, we're looking to push even harder than previous seasons.
Yeah, so here's your top 16 bracket for semi-pro. So looking through this, we've got 3 bye runs. So Bartosz Ostalowski getting a bye run, so is Patrick Detmer. We also have Maximilian Maikos there getting a bye run. Then we're getting into our actual battles there. We've Bartolomej Ozrikech. Again, I'm going to butcher all of these names. Up as our first actual battle, just after Patrick Detmer's bye run there. So we will be getting into this soon. I believe I see Patrick lining up there at the start line, and he will complete 1 pass of the track, so he can move on to the top 8.
Not a bad start to the day for Patrick, that is sure. I would not be.
Absolutely not. That's
just think of
a
it as
dream.
Honestly, it's almost like you can. It's basically just a practice run at that point. It's got an extra run in practice, so that's not too shabby.
Yeah, so like even if you're looking at it this way, like it pays off. If you look at a lot of the guys yesterday when they're going through qualifying, looking to take that top spot, it does pay off when you can get a bye run straight into the top 8. You want to be getting them high qualifying scores, and as well, if you're getting them high qualifying scores, it means your lead lines are absolutely perfect and the judges like what you're doing, so you don't really need to change a huge amount. And then all you really need to worry about the next day is your chasing. In practice, like a lot of guys now, they really do a lot of work on the sim. Now, out of this grid, I don't know how many guys are avid sim fans like myself and Brandon, but yeah, a lot of guys will do a lot of work on the sim here to just make sure that everything is to their liking and they can test car setups and everything. So we are here now in Słomczyn Autodrom, and I believe we have Patrick Detmer on the line for his bye run, Brandon.
We do indeed. I've just noticed there's someone doing some slides up in the top corner. I'm guessing they're drift demos. That's pretty cool. So if you want to go and experience some drifting, looks like a taxi server. So if you're at the track, go and check that out. Come experience drifting for first person, you know. But yeah, so we got Patrick Detmer at the line in that beautiful E36, and obviously he's going to be having a bye run as the start line marshal gets him to check the lights as they go red. And here we go, the first run of the top 16 in semi-pro 2025 DMP. Patrick Detmer kicks it off with a lovely, nice, smooth bye run. Hopefully, that being said, I don't want to give him the commentator's curse, but look at this, looking very nice into out of 1, doing a solid, nice job through there. And honestly, he's just going to be absolutely cruising. If you were there for qualifying action yesterday, this is what you would have seen. Nice solo runs just to get themselves acquainted with the track, get themselves into the bracket. And look at that, through the last outside, so perfect there from Patrick Detmer. So he's going to be solid in his leads, 4th into the top 8.
Yeah, let's even have a look at this here. So just as a quick track breakdown, we always have them to the inner clip and the outer zone 1 there into the Manji section, into outer zone 2. As he comes around here into outer zone 3, judges want to see people dropping down into mid track between outer zone 3 and outer zone 4, the way Patrick is doing beautifully here. placing that car nicely into outer zone 4, transitioning back into a D-cell here. So you'll see them rear wheels lock up on Patrick's car and then power back up again. That D-cell is just tipping the start of outer zone 5, so they want to be back on power as they come into outer zone 5 and then around the bank and up into outer zone 6 and across the line. So we'll move to our first proper battle, and on the line we have Bartolomej Ozverstarek and Kamil Zarzicki. I'm butchering them names, I do apologize. But yeah, we're looking forward to this battle, Brandon. These guys were absolutely killing it in practice and qualifying yesterday.
Definitely, Camille, in that lovely S13 in the... Do you know what? It's just straight up black and it is simple, but we've also got Bartolomej in that E82 that looks absolutely savage, and it was really gripped up in qualifying yesterday. So I'm intrigued to see the pacing difference between these two drivers. Obviously, it's not just in the cards, it's also in themselves. Obviously, the commitment is one of the main things. But here you go, the first battle of the 2025 season of DMP, the Polish Drift Championship Semi-Pro. Here we go, as they go green on the lights. We have that E82 being chased in by that S13 hatch. Nice flick initiation there from the lead. Lovely into outside zone 1. Looking pretty good, but there is a gap forming already. As you can see, that E82 is just gripped up. He is leaving that S13 behind, and he is nowhere to be seen. It's a very unfortunate start for Camille here as they come around now into the last corner towards outside zone 6. But he just goes a bit deep into outer 6 as they come across the line. I don't think there was enough there in the chase at all. There wasn't an argument to be made.
Yeah, I think we're looking at a bit of an inactive chase situation there, Brandon, and so we'll break this down. So Bartolomej straight into the first inner clip, getting outer zone 1 very nicely. Camille actually running that clip very wide. As they transition back, Camille's already transitioning late. As you can see, there's 2-3 second delay when Camille is transitioning. Now, Bartolomej does actually cut some track there and does pull even more of a gap, but I think for Camille it's even a bit too late there, because Camille is cutting track, trying to make up some ground as they come around there. As you said as well, Bartolomej actually just cutting a little bit wide on outer zone 6 there, followed by Camille. So we'll see how this goes in run 2. Slight advantage there, probably leaning towards the E82 driver. And yeah, I'm not really too sure what Camille can do here to make this up in the lead position.
Definitely, and I mean, like I was saying, in practice, in qualifying and practice, Bartolomej's E82 is very gripped up. So, and it's really evident there. The pacing difference between the two cars is insane. So we've just got to see how these two react to each other with the roles reversed, really, because obviously if it's going to be the same kind of pacing issue, then it could lead to Camille getting pushed around. So we'll have to see. But we're just, as you can see, you've got some of the team there just helping cool down the cars. As it does get very hot, they're pushing these cars to the absolute limit to what they were ever designed for. And even further than that. Although they are, from the looks of it, they are on the same kind of power scaling when it comes to engines. So I think it could be down to setup, chassis grip as well. So there could be multiple things going on, as well as obviously the driver commitment into the course as well. So we're just waiting on our start line marshal to prepare them. As you can see, they're both checking both drivers as the lights go red. As we send them out for their second run now, lights go green. Here we go. Camille just coming through that start line chicane, which is designed to keep them from gapping the chase driver. But Bartolomej is not really there to be seen in the chase as well. Once again, another gap being formed from lead to chase, but so far not doing too bad of a job in the lead. A bit shallow on out of 2, but manages to bring it back for 3 as Bartolomej now comes back in. Bit shallow on 4 there in the lead, but manages to bring it back once again for 5. Bartolomej gets the dive, but almost pulling back as they come across the line.
Yeah, so let's have a look at this here. So Bartolomej actually forming a little bit of gap off the start there. I don't know whether he missed a gear or something, but you can see here outer zone 1, We actually have the lead, missing that clip altogether. As we transition back here, we now see Bartolomeo is trying to cut a bit of track there, trying to make up a bit of ground. And he does pull it back slightly towards that 200 SX there. Still a lot of gaps there, but not too far from the first run where we had Camille being really gapped. Now Bartolomeo is behind, but I think the judges will look at this as a possibly a one more time if they deem both them chases inactive, but maybe a small advantage there for Bartolomeo.
I mean, I wouldn't say they were inactive in any form. I think it is the case that there's just a big gap formed, and potentially it could just be obviously first runs. Things are trying to gauge the grip as well, as obviously they're constantly changing. But we'll have to see what the judges think, as obviously two very similar chases, but Tomich obviously getting a bit more proximity towards the end with a bigger dive. But I genuinely thought he would be a bit closer in his chase.
Yeah, we'll see how they put it into the judges here, and we have our marshal here. And that's Bartolomeo getting the win there. So Camille dropping out of competition there in the top 16, and Bartolomeo Ozrejak will move into the top 8 in that E82. And we'll move back to the line with our next battle, our third runs of the day. So we have Vaclav Burian and Magdalena Malazinska on the line here. Brandon, let's have a look at this now.
Two very different chassis once again, and very interesting driving styles as well. Obviously, every driver has their own driving style, and these two are pretty different, I'd say. Obviously, the E92 being very loose, whereas Magdalena's S15 is quite stiff. So setup differences are really going to be shown here. And apparently this is an E46 compact with E92 panels.
Yeah, so
what?
that is
What?
that is wild. So
I've never seen anything like that. But here we go. The lights go red, they go green, and now we have that 46 compact with the E92 panels, which I still can't believe is a thing. Sending it in, big flick initiation. Oh, but getting caught up there. Maybe something happening. The car didn't react the way he wanted it to. Magdalena trying to, obviously she couldn't keep it in drift, had to shut it down, so that it will be a 10-0 advantage to Magdalena there. And this is very unfortunate. That's not going to be the way you wanted to start your event.
yeah, maybe car issues there for Burian. Looked like he went to initiate there and just nothing happened. Let's take a look back at this. He goes to flick the car, do a weight transfer, and it looks like the car just doesn't break traction, and he has no power maybe? I'm not too sure. Magdalena trying to initiate behind, but yeah, not a huge amount there from Burian. We'll have to figure out. I think he might call actually there's no 5-minute rules in this, so he may be just dropping out of competition if he can't get a chase run together here. So let's get them back at the line, see what happens here. Some interesting battles here, Brandon, already in the semi-pro category.
Oh, definitely. It could be a case of nerves. Maybe he just didn't initiate as fast as he wanted to, and the car didn't react the way it should have. There's multiple reasons that could have happened.
We did mention this yesterday, where there's a lot of body roll in that car. There looks like it's very soft setup, so maybe it could be something to do with that. We'll have to
potentially
try figure that out. Maybe if we can get somebody down to him later on to ask him what's going on there.
Potentially, Magdalena's
happy with that.
She's loving life right now. I mean, I don't know why you had closed the window. It's going to be absolutely steaming in that car. But here we go. The start line marshal is now getting prepared. The lights go red, and now we go green. Magdalena now leading in. Burian Here we go. Nice big flick initiation for Magdalena there. Very fast through inner clip one. Lovely through out clip one. Big Manji there, but Berian is nowhere to be seen. Magdalena is just having a lovely cruise out as he's trying to get the pace, he's trying to catch up, but that is 15 is just too fast as it comes around now around to out of 5, around out of 6, but missing out of 6 at the end, and unfortunately Berian just was nowhere to be seen.
Yeah, let's have a look at this now again, because I did see something in the background here from Burian. So he does initiate, he does manage to initiate this time. And when he's coming around, he does come transition, but he transitions back really early. I think there's a power issue with that car, or maybe something just not working quite right in the drivetrain of that car. But Magdalena doing a very, very nice job out front, doing exactly what she needs to do to make her way into the top 8. And you see Burian just struggling there to keep that car sideways. I'm not too sure what's going on there with him, but unfortunately I believe that will be a drop out of competition for him, as we'll go back and see what the judges say about it.
Yeah, unfortunately that is the nature of competition. Mistakes are gonna happen, and unfortunately it just wasn't his day. Obviously Magdalena sitting there just having a nice little chat. Look at the respect between them. Magdalena having a great time, being a great sport. And that will be Magdalena moving on into the top 8. So unfortunately for Vaclav Burian, that is the end of his day.
Yeah, so we'll go back to the line. On the line, we should have Mikhail Golevsky and Ivan Subchuk. And these two guys absolutely thrown down some killer runs there yesterday in qualifying, Brandon. And I believe Michael was our 5th qualifier overall, if I'm not mistaken.
I do think so, yes. I'm definitely very excited to see this, because 2 beautiful looking cars. Very similar colours as well, but we got the Ukrainian here, Zubchuk, Ivan Zubchuk in that E46. And then we have this beautiful S13. Look at that. Just Michał Godelski. I really hope I'm saying his last name correctly. But yeah, two very different guys. One's a chassis, one's an E chassis, and it's going to be interesting seeing how they drive together, because obviously driving styles once again are very different to each other, and there is a power difference as well. So we'll have to see as we go green. That S13 leads in that E46. Obviously the S13 being a higher powered car, so we'll have to see if a gap forms. Nice initiation there between the two as they come around to outer 1. Very nice and smooth through the midsection. Maybe dropping onto that curb a little bit too much into outer 2, but doing a solid job through outer 3. Ivan just not quite there, but a bit closer than some of the previous battles were. So not too shabby between the two as they come around to outside turn 6. Not too shabby between the two. Obviously Ivan could have been a bit closer, but we'll have to see what they do when we spin them around. Oh, we could potentially have another microphone problem with kids. Stop muting your microphone. Either way, look at Ivan could have been a lot closer here. There's a lot more opportunities to get a dive, as Michał was just right out there in the lead, doing what he needed to do, putting on a nice fluid and committed lead.
Can we hear me?
Unfortunately, yes, we can.
Yes, there we go. I have no idea what's going on with my mics. I might change over. But yeah, so I think the only thing that really caught me there that might have made a little bit that gap form was that side-by-side entry maybe just caught both drivers off guard there. Not really too sure what Zubchuk was thinking in the chase there when he went for a side-by-side. Very, very difficult maneuver to pull, as we've seen many times over the years. Brandon, side-by-sides are quite a dangerous maneuver on some tracks. But if you can pull them off, you get rewarded for it. So maybe that's what he was going for there. But
Definitely. I mean, I've always found the bumper-to-bumper initiation always seems to be the most effective, as you can then just slide into the pocket a lot more effectively, almost slingshotting in some form. But obviously, Ivan being the lowered powered car, he's always going to struggle in chase against something that's got nearly, well, 230 more horsepower. So it's not an easy one for him, but he made the most of what he could get. So now we have the lights going red with Michal in the chase, Ivan in the lead as we send him out once again. Ivan making a gap once on the initiation, but maybe a bit of a checkup as Michal tries to find the pocket of Ivan's door as they come around into outer two, not doing too shabby. But Michal washing wide behind him in the chase. Ivan's coming around now into outer four, doing a lovely job in the lead so far. Coming into the last corner, but Michal has to make a dive, try and get back into the proximity pocket that he needs to be in as they come across the line. That was definitely something. They are not making it easy for the judges.
Yeah, absolutely. Ivan in the lead here, not going for that wide initiation, just going straight for inner clip one, just about clipping outer zone one there as he transitions back through this Monji section. We can see Death Chase Drive getting a little bit closer, makes a huge dive here. Now, in doing that, he does dial on a lot of angle and ends up actually losing the lead a little bit, having to make up more ground than he did before. So these things, split-second decisions, you choose to go for them, and it can end up just biting you a little bit sometimes. So as we get back down into the last section of the track here, we can see a little bit more of a dive being made in the chase as Ivan just does a lovely, lovely job there to get around outer clip 6 and across the line there. So we will wait for the judges to drop in their decision.
I could personally see this go to OMT. I mean, I don't know.
I would love to see that.
Oh, and here we go. What is the decision? Who is moving on into the top 8 as they stand there nervously? And this is probably the most nerve-wracking part of the event for them. It's just sitting there waiting for the decision. Both two really lovely looking cars as well. As you can see there, they're just kind of trying to
yeah, judges definitely deliberating this one as we do have a decision, and that is Michał Golewski getting the win there and moving through to the top 8 of semi-pro, and Ivan Zubchuk dropping out of competition there as we have an interview coming up there.
Let's go for explanation for this battle. It was for us to look at. There was like a lot of mistakes from both drivers. We can say that the mistakes on the chase position were really even. We were mainly focusing on Michał Godlewski's wheel off, if there was two wheels or one wheel. So we were looking from the drone footage and it was pretty clear that one wheel was still on the line. So we are able to say that the chase runs were very even, and then we needed to calculate the mistakes on the leads. And that was not easy task, but at the end it was by very, very small margin, but it was still going to Michał Godlewski.
Okay, so there is judges explaining everything that's been going on. So massive thank you to them. And yeah, very, very interesting way to call. Obviously, they have all of the views and everything, and we have a quick interview.
No I jak te opony w tej klasie oddają?
No, opony są fajne, są wyrównane, każdy jedzie na tych samych, więc nie ma jakichś tam różnic prędkości i to od nas zależy, jak się dostosujemy do tych opon, jak przygotujemy samochód i jak szybko wjeździmy się w dany tor i w daną konfigurację trasy przygotowaną przez sędziów.
Dobrze jest chyba wrócić na Słomczyn, co?
To jest mój ukochany, ulubiony tor i mam nadzieję, że będzie do końca świata w kalendarzu driftingowych Mistrzostw Polski.
Gratulacje za tą wygraną, trzymamy kciuki dalej, dzięki wielkie.
Dziękuję bardzo.
So there you go, just Michał having a little chat there. For any of you Polish speakers out there, please translate for me?
Yep, we have no idea what he said, but yeah, congratulations to Miho moving through to that top 8. And we will move it on to the other side of the bracket. And on the other side of the bracket, we have Bartosz Ostolowski here in that hand-controlled E92, making about 1,000 horsepower in this car, which is insane. This car is
feet controlled.
Feet
It's all
controls,
feet.
shoulder controls, feet controls. I believe he has shoulder controls on that for certain bits. But we'll
Yes.
see what he can do here. He just has a buy run. All he has to do is make one pass of the track as he will swing that E92 into that initiation through inner clip 1 and through outer zone 1, through the Manji section, flick back into outer zone 2. Filling outer zone 2 very, very nicely there as he comes around to outer zone 3, running that lovely white line, drops mid section here as he comes to outer zone 4, transitions back, decells the car on angle and gets it lovely around to the line and completes his run, and he will move swiftly on to the top 8.
That was an incredible Byron. I won't lie, that was very, very nice. And
Put it on kill
obviously,
mode for a buy run. I've never seen that. That's it's an interesting technique there, but Bartosz doing a very, very nice job putting on a bit of a show for the crowd, I think, for his buy run. And we will see him
definitely.
in the top 8 now.
he is a man of many talents, and nothing's going to let him get him down, obviously. But look at that car. That thing is absolutely dialed in, and so is he. And wow, I love watching this man drive, because I've seen him at Drift Masters, and he is incredible. Like, he is something else, and he's one of the most humble.
Back in Drift Masters, that I want to see that again.
He's one of the most humble fellas as well, and yeah, he's amazing. But we've got Hero Zamfir in the chase lane now. He's looking somewhat confident. I'd like to say it's hard to tell with that helmet
I
on.
would call him locked in, I believe is the term. So,
Yes,
and coming up
definitely.
against this lovely, lovely Brandon, our favorite kit in the world, E36 GTR kitted car, as that is Wojtek Godjovic, gonna lead him out there. So I love that kit. It is so nice.
I mean, to be fair, this E46 is really tidy as well. Very,
indeed.
very tidy. I love the accents on the livery. It's just, it is textbook, to be honest. And obviously I think Ivan Zubchuk also is his teammate, if I do believe.
Oh,
So they have very similar looking liveries. I'm not too sure, don't hold me on that, but they look very similar. Very, very similar. As you can see there, looking at the rear bash bar, that thing is built to last. And obviously we have that M3 GTR kit on this E36. This thing is just unreal. Wojciech's car is just stunning. And kudos to him for running the OEM wheels on the front. That is really, really cool.
yeah, I was mentioning that yesterday. I think that's one of the biggest things there. I love the stock wheels. They're a lovely looking wheel. I don't understand why people don't run them more. But we'll wait for the lights to go green here.
Here we go. So we're going to have Wojciech leading in Ferrari. 2 E-chassis, 2 different generations, but a big initiation there from Hiro in the chase. Wojciech is just absolutely pinning it in the lead, lovely through outer 2, but there is a gap forming here as they come through outer 3. Wojciech is absolutely pinning it through this part of the track, as Hiro is just trying to find the door as they come around now around the last corner through outside zone 6. There's just not really any proximity being found.
Yeah, no, definitely no proximity there. Just a little bit of a gap being formed straight off the line as well. As we come through inner clip 1 here, we can see E36 doing a really, really good job there. Transitions through the Manji section, and that gap is still kind of holding up until this section here, where it starts to even get a little bit wider. In fact, as we have our lead driver doing an incredible lead run there, and to be honest, not really cutting or any line or any angle there to try make a dive in the chase is Zamfir. So hopefully we can see something made up in the second run here for Zamfir. But just looking at Wojtek, maybe just missing outer zone 6 a little bit as he's coming across the line there. But we will see what happens in our second run here.
Definitely.
For Wojtek, little advantage going his way, I would think.
We'll have to see. Obviously, no matter what happens, it can always go the other way. So the battle is not won until it's over. In drifting, that is the thing. As you can see there. To be fair, Hiro did a good. Hiro, I think that's how you say it. Did a very good job by actually just doing a lead line behind Wojtek. So that was probably the best he could make out of that situation. But now we have that E46 in the lead with the 36 in the chase. Nice initiation between the two of them onto out of one. Doing a nice job. But look at Wojtek just right there on the door of that E46, but just dropping through out of 3. Coming around to out of 4 now, doing a decent job between the two of them. The proximity could be closer, but it was closer than the previous road, so we'll have to see what they do through this. But oh, just almost over-rotating, which checks up that 36 in the chase.
Yeah, let's have a look at this. So a big power difference here. It's 200 horsepower in the difference here. So Hurry with the lower of the two powers there, as it's a lovely tidy lead line here as we see Zamfir piloting that E46 around, and Wojtek doing a very nice job in the chase here, giving him a bit of room, but not being too far away, still having that proximity to get in there. As you see, Zamfir actually dropping a wheel over the white line there as he brings it back in to mid-track, coming across outer zone 4. And we see in the chase there, doing a very good job there is Wojtek as he transitions back here. Now, this is where we saw a little bit of an over-rotation. Yeah, I think Zamfir just gets it a little bit wrong there, and Wojtek doing a very good job to stall out that E36 and get it so he doesn't hit the lead car and break both cars potentially in that situation. Very good job in the chase there to avoid the collision from Wojtek. And look at that car, why would you ever want to crash that thing? And that's it, Wojtek getting the win here and moving on to the top 8, and we will see Zamfir Harry moving out, or Harry Zamfir even moving out of competition, and we will see him back for round 2 of the semi-pro championship.
Indeed, as I can't lie, I'm quite happy to see that. I'm more than happy to watch that N3 continue its competition. I love looking at that thing. But now we have we do have a Byron here from Maximilian in that beautiful, like honestly textbook looking S14, like genuinely probably one of the best looking, well, my favorite looking S14s in existence. Obviously supported by many amazing companies. As he now goes off the line, he's just going to get a nice little practice run here in that ECU Master S14. Lovely throughout one so far. Oh, but just shuts it down. I do believe all you have to do is actually initiate and drift the first corner, and you can shut down, and that is proof that you have done your buy run. That does technically complete the buy run. They don't have to run a full buy run. Obviously, he's now just saving tires, making sure the car is 100%. It is essentially just a procedure to make sure that the car is fit for competition.
Yeah, I believe he is Camille Zakharow's teammate as well in that Max Racing S13, if I'm not mistaken.
I could see that. I mean, there's a Max Racing intercooler on the front, so I do believe that could be the case.
I could be wrong here. Somebody will correct me.
Could be supported by Max Racing.
Could be supported. Two beautiful looking cars. Doesn't really matter. I like looking at pretty cars. So
I'd say out of semi-pro and pro, they're the two best looking cars on the grid.
Oh, I don't know about that, Brandon. We've said a lot of things now. Yesterday, saying this is my favorite car on the grid. We've said a lot of cars are our favorite car on the grid, but we will move it along anyway to our last battle of our top 16 here. And we have Mateusz Wodrik versus Wojtek Fabiszek. And we will see the two of these two chase Wojtek Fabiszek to chase in Mateusz here. Mateusz in a E92 M3. So we will wait for the start line marshal to give us the lights, getting these guys ready to send down our main straight.
Yes, definitely key. And here we go. Once again, seems to be it seems to be that we constantly have E chassis versus S chassis as they now initiate a nice big clutch kick initiation coming into there. Lovely through out one. Oh, but Fabershak just getting a bit caught up in that transition, but manages to find the proximity once again, finding that pocket as they come through outside zone 3, doing a lovely job between the two of them so far as they just touch outside zone 4. Big transition between the two of them now. Fabershak losing a little bit of ground as they come around into the last outside zone and across the line.
Yeah, very good job in the chase from Fabershak here. So let's have a look. Let's see what mistakes we can have a look at here. There was one or two that I did spot. So straight off initiation here, decent proximity here from Fabershak. But when we transition back here through the Manzi section, Fabershak is a little bit behind. He loses a little bit proximity, but makes a huge dive up onto that door of the E92 and then manages to keep that car exactly where he needs it. I would think he would like it a little bit closer, but again, that's not neither here nor there. He is actually in a decent amount of proximity. As they transition back here through into the D cell, we have Mateusz doing a very tidy job in the lead here. Not too much to fault Mateusz at all in the lead. It was quite a good lead run, so making Fabershak's life a little bit easier there, because you cannot have a good chase without a good lead. That age-old saying in drifting. As we move them back to the line here.
Unfortunately, Fabershak just struggling to get the proximity towards that latter half of the track. And we'll have to see what happens in this next run. Obviously, that S15 looking absolutely stunning. I do like liveries like that with the white and purple. That's really, really cool. But obviously, we've got Mateusz in the chase now as we get them sent down the main straight. As you can hear the tires screeching as they leave the line. Here we go, S15 in the lead, E92 in the chase. Nice initiation between the two of them. A lot of speed, lovely throughout outside zone 1. Mateusz right there in the pocket, just trying to find the door once again, just like Fabershak. Doing a lovely job between the two of them. Maybe just losing a little bit of ground there as they come around to the outside zone 4 as they transition now. But look at Mateusz right there with Fabershak, almost getting ready to push him around outside zone 6. Some lovely stuff across the line.
Yeah, this is a really good run here from both drivers. Fabershak doing a very good lead run here for Mateusz, and Mateusz taking full advantage of that good lead run. You see transition back here through the Manji section. Mateusz right there and transitions at the same time as Fabershak coming back around here. Maybe dropping a little bit of a wheel on the curb there is Mateusz, but then manages to get that car pushing it up onto the door of that S15 as they come around here. Maybe a small little bit of a gap forming, but that doesn't really matter, because when we transition back here, Mateusz is right back, transitions before on more angle than Fabershak, coming into that last zone, into the bank, and does a very, very tidy job on the door of that S15. Across the line they go. That was very, very good from Mateusz. Really, really good textbook driving there in the chase. We will see how the judges like to score this one. I have my own thoughts, but I have been slapped in the face a couple of times yesterday by saying what I thought. So I will let the judges make the decision. I am not a judge. Brandon's not a judge. We're going to let them do all that. But in my opinion, I think Mateusz might have a little bit of an upper hand in this one.
Potentially, yes. Obviously, his chase a little bit better, but lead to lead, they looked pretty dialed in between the two of them. So it's all down to who. It's down to lead, chase to chase. So the judges are going to be looking between both of them as we await our call, and it is going to be going to Mateusz. Moving on into the top 8, obviously with that just a lot more clinical of a chase. And unfortunately, that is going to be the end for Fabershak's weekend, but a really nice job there in that S15.
Yeah, so as we go back to the line here, we will have Patrick Detmer versus Bartosz Ozrajek. Again, I'm sorry with the pronunciations. I will get them. But we will wait for them. And here we go. Here's our bracket for the top 8, actually. So we have Patrick Detmer versus Bartolomew Ozrajek. Then we have Magdalena Malazinska versus Michał Godleski. Bartosz Oskalowski versus Wojtek Godziewicz. And Maximilian Maikos versus Mateusz Wodza. I will get that name at some point. But yeah, we've again, Brendan, another stacked battle tree here, and I cannot wait to see how this will land into the finals, because this is going to be huge.
Definitely. Obviously, these two drivers very dialed in with their runs so far. Patrick definitely going to have a nice lead, but Bartolomew also having a very fast lead. So we'll have to see what they do with this. As you can see there, he's looking nice. He's looking happy. He's got a lovely beard on him. I wish I had a beard like that. But yeah, two very nice guys, two amazing drivers, and obviously two very different generations of BMWs, so it's going to be interesting to see which one comes out on top. Obviously Patrick representing the God chassis, which is the E36, and I was totally not forced to say that by multiple of my friends who have E36s. Luke Bottomer.
Well, it is true. It is God's gift to Earth.
Of course you would think that, but we'll have to see. Let's put your money where your mouth is. As Patrick now initiates into the first corner.
Oh, we have a door open. Door open.
Whoa, door is flapping open on Bartomeu's car. That was kind of terrifying, I can't lie, but Patrick is just out. He's just completely left them. There is nothing there to be said in the chase as they come around out into the last zone, but Bartolomew spins, and I think with the door opening, it just
Another thing, did he get it closed in the end? He does indeed, and they're both back on the line. So
even Patrick's like, what just happened?
I think Patrick's spotter might be on the radio telling him what just happened there, and Patrick's just confused, as we all are. But yeah,
and you can see that.
Yeah, it looks like the door latch is actually broken. Ah, they're taping
and
it shut.
the magical tape has arrived.
That's man's best friend right there.
Yep, I've just realised Bartolomew has a little drink straw in there. He's a bit fancy, ain't he?
Yeah, he's getting, you know, you have to have a bit of a drink going around. That car gets super duper hot.
That is
mid-transition, shutting your door, taking a sip of water, you know, it's just casual, doing 60 kilometers an hour sideways on max angle.
What a guy, but here we go as we get them switched around. The lights go green. Bartolomew in the lead in that E82 with that M3 E36 behind. Big fast initiation there from Bartolomew. Patrick kind of falling behind, but has to make a dive here through the boundary section. Lovely transition between the two of them. Nice and synchronized. That's what we want to see, mimicking between the two. Could be a bit closer in the chase, but obviously Patrick doesn't have to do much at all here, as he is on a 10-0 advantage. But Bartolovic trying to get him to force a mistake, but he does make a mistake himself by dropping onto outside zone 6 and across the line. That is Patrick being very clinical and just doing what he has to do.
Yeah, definitely. Spotter would have been on the radio to Patrick there, telling him what happened in that first run. So Patrick leaving a bit of a gap there just to make sure that he can get through to the top 4. Transitioning back here, you can see Patrick doing exactly what he needs to do. He's not too far behind, as Bartolomeu is doing a very tidy job in the lead here, actually not putting a whole lot wrong as he comes to this outer zone, and he does maybe drop half a wheel there, but coming through outer zone 3 around the big corner, around down into the midsection here to outer zone 4. As they come down the here to outer zone 5, then let's see what happens here. Bartolomeu comes through outer zone 4, seems to decel the car nicely, but washes wide and goes nearly into the kitty litter, nearly puts 3 wheels off track there. So we see Patrick dealing with that quite well, gaining a little bit of proximity because Bartolomeu is obviously slowing down in that section, but doing a very tidy job to avoid contact there is Patrick. So we'll bring them down to our marshal here, who will say who's going through to the top 4, and it is Patrick Detmer getting the win and going through to the top 4 with his steering wheel in his hand. He'll be happy with that. He's having a lovely day. By run in his top 16, getting through in the top 8. That's going to be a dream day for him in that lovely E36. Bartolomeu unfortunately having to bow out of competition in the top 8, and we will see him back for the next round. As we go back to the line, we have Magdalena Malazinska on the line to face Michał Godleski, and Magdalena looking very happy there, giving us a little bit of a wave in that lovely Rocket Bunny S15. We were saying this yesterday, Brandon, the Rocket Bunny S15's very popular kit here, as she is representing that Spazov Motorsport intercooler there. You can see it. David Spasov, obviously a very well-known driver in Poland and across Europe.
She is having a great time.
Yeah, how could you not be? You're in a 700 horsepower Rocket Bunny S15. How could you not have a smile on your face?
That is very, very true. Obviously, we got Michał here in that RPS 13. Another very nice looking car. Air chassis versus air chassis. I think this is the first air chassis battle we've had so far today, and it is going to be an interesting one, as we have 2 very interesting drivers, 2 very, very fun drivers to watch as well. Obviously, 2 very different driving styles respectively at the same time. So as the lights go red, we now go green and we send them down. Magdalena in the chase, Michał in the lead, as they do a nice flick initiation there from Michał, but Magdalena's nowhere to be seen as they come through outside zone 1, doing a lovely job filling that in the lead, but Magdalena's just struggling to find the pace, find Michał's door as they come around now through outside zone 3. Magdalena trying to bring back the proximity as they come around out 4, but just getting caught up, dropping into the dirt in the chase, but manages to find the pocket, but just not being able to, almost going past the line before the lead driver.
Yeah, let's have a look at this. So straight out of the bat, Magdalena has a little bit of a gap to make up here, as Michał doing a very tidy job in the lead, getting that inner clip 1 and outer zone 1 with a transition back here. Magdalena trying to make up some ground here, traveling the transition a little bit early, and then Michał has already transitioned by the time Magdalena gets back onto angle here, cutting the track here to get up to him. Michał then missing outer zone 3, coming around here to outer zone 4, and we'll make our way down to outer zone 5 after this. Michał maybe dropping a tyre onto the curb there as we transition back, and you can see Magdalena doing a very good job to try and make up that proximity in the chase, getting within a couple of car lengths of Michał, and now in this section she does drop in and have to straighten the car a little bit, unfortunately. So we will switch them around, get them back to the line, and see what Michał can do in the chase here. They'll talk to their spotters, they'll see what they have to do in both their lead and chase for this second run. I believe it's a little bit harder, Brandon, in the lead to make up a little bit of a deficit if you have one. Like you can seem to do a little bit more in the chase. You can go that extra bit harder, whereas in the lead you just have to kind of do your perfect qualifying line, and you can't really have any control about the chase driver.
Definitely, and it's not going to be an easy one for either of them, obviously. Michal
smiling.
should be, yeah, she's having a great time. Like, mistakes happen in drifting, that is the thing, that is the nature of the sport, and that is what differs a result, really. So we'll have to see what happens as the lights go red now. We're getting them switched around, send them back out. Here we go, Michal in the chase, Magdalena in the lead. You can hear that S15 absolutely on throttle in that initiation, but Michal is just once again not there, getting gapped from the get-go as they come around into absolute blue. Could have been a bit better in the lead line there, but manages to get into outside doing a very good job coming around now into 4, but Michal is just not there. There is no argument in this chase. Magdalena has got an open track, just finish her lead, and Michal then follows suit and across the line.
Let's have a look what happened here, because they were actually quite tight to begin with, and then I think Michal just having a little bit of a late transition there to get into the initiation, and Magdalena in that S15 is so fast in the lead position there. You can even see in her last chase run there, she made up quite a lot of proximity fairly quick, but a huge gap here between both drivers. Michal cutting the track there to try get up to Magdalena, but Magdalena has that car absolutely flat to get as much speed into that car, and now she comes down into the D-cell. We'll see Michal try to make up a little bit of ground here as she comes around through the bank out up to outer zone 6, which she does just about grab at the end there, but by that point Michal is only coming through outer zone 6 as she is well across the line. So we'll see what the judges think. We should have a decision, I think. Both those drivers out of the car congratulating each other, having a bit of a chat there. Nice camaraderie in drifting all the time. I think that's kind of across the board there. Across Europe, there's always that bit of camaraderie on track. I've never seen a country that doesn't have that. So we will wait for our judges to drop in the scores.
Exactly. Funnily enough, I've actually switched my position for commentating today. I've literally just I'm standing up now. My chair was annoying me.
You're taking the power in the tower approach.
Yes, exactly. King of the castle, king of the castle.
Aha! You have a chair, but you're not using it. And Magdalena getting the win there, so she will move through to the top 4. So Magdalena getting the win. She will be delighted with that. And
Potentially,
unfortunately there, Michal bound out of competition in the top 8, and we'll see him back for judges.
We're just going to get a...
Yeah, if we look on both runs, there were a lot of mistakes, and we just needed to wait different mistakes on the track, how they were appearing. We actually had split decision on this one, as 2 judges were for Magda and 1 judge was for One More Time. So that is showing how close it actually was. But if we look on both runs, we can see that Michal Godlewski was almost 2 wheels off just before the finish line, which is a really big mistake. And then he was also having a couple bigger mistakes on his lead run, where Magda's lead was way cleaner. If we look on the chase runs, then Michal's chase was way cleaner than Magda's chase, but he was not even short that close as Magda was on her run. So that's why 2 judges were for Magda and 1 judge was for One More Time.
And there you have it, our judges giving us the explanation for that battle, doing an amazing job once again. Unfortunately for Michal, that is the end of his weekend, but now we have 2 of the most interesting cars on this grid, I'd say, for different reasons.
2 very different reasons, I would say. Both M3s, both BMWs. 2 very different cars though, Brandon. One is 1,000 horsepower with full control and shoulder control. One has an M3 kit. And to be honest, I don't think you'll see this anywhere else in the world.
Nope, I genuinely don't think so myself, and it's really cool to see these two different styles of cars put together as we have Wojciech in the chase and now we have Bartos in the lead. Here we go, there's a massive power difference here, so we'll have to see what happens with that as they come around. Once again, the low power's showing that they can hang low, is right there in the chase. That E36 is trying to push, but look at the lead so far, absolutely on it. Lovely through outside zone trees, keeping it nice and tidy, but the chase is right there. The proximity is good. Can he keep it in the transition? Yes, he can. He is right there, maybe just falling behind it a little bit as they come through outside zone 6, but gets into the pocket and across the line.
Yeah, definitely. I think that power difference, we're looking here, it's 300 horsepower in the difference, Brandon, but what I'm starting to think here is this tire rule that these guys have, they all have to run a control tire, so that 700 horsepower and the 1000 horsepower doesn't make a huge difference here when you're up in the high horsepower numbers. I think that will definitely make a difference if we were looking at maybe a 500 horsepower car to a 1000 horsepower car, but we have Wojciech doing a very tidy job in the chase here, going very close to Bartosz Ostrolowski, and Bartosz not doing a whole pile wrong in the lead here either, as we can see coming down into the D-cell here, looking very clean, getting that car on angle to slow it down, and we have Wojciech following very closely behind on the same kind of line as Bartosz. So we will see how the judges go with this one. I think we are in for fireworks on the second half of this run, Brandon.
For sure, Kian, is going to be a crazy one, as honestly these two drivers are going to go absolutely crazy just based off of that first run as well. Bartosz doing a great smooth lead, as we saw reflecting in his bye run as well, be very consistent in that lead. But obviously we've got Wojciech in that crazy E36 and he did a very good job despite the power difference. But then you've also got to think the lower power cars generally do have a lot more grip, so it does play into his hands in some form. He's just got to utilize it. But now we have Bartosz in the chase, chasing in Wojciech in the lead. Let's see what they can do with this as the E36 fires it down the main straight with the E92 in chase. Look at the initiation between the two of them as they come around into outside zone 2. Good, a little bit shallower in the chase there, but doing a lovely job as they come around to outside zone 3, but making a gap. Once again, the power difference is really just becoming irrelevant at this point as they come around into the last corner on outside zone 5. Wojciech just absolutely leaving the chase in the dust, and that is something I did not expect.
Yeah, absolutely, Brandon. I think I'm going to have to do a lot of research into what control tires are on these cars. So let's have a look at this here. So Bartosz off the bat, not as close as Wojciech in the chase. Wojciech getting that transition off a little bit earlier than Bartosz. When they transition back here, Bartosz does manage to transition a little bit closer to Wojciech as they power around. And Bartosz just washes out a little bit wide here. That's giving Wojciech that little bit more of a gap there. As they come around into outer zone 4, you can see there is much more of a gap there than there was in the first run of this battle. When we come down into the D-cell here, Bartosz tries to cut some ground and make up some little bit of proximity here and gets through to outer zone 6 and across the line. But yeah, not a bad battle here. I'm very interested to see what the judges make of this one, Brandon.
Definitely. These guys absolutely killing it throughout this whole event. Obviously, you can see one of the pit crew members there for our lovely friend. Insane E92. That thing is just mental.
That thing's just
it still is so cool. There's so much talent, and it will be going to Wojciech. Moving on into the top 4. Fortunately, yeah, for Bartosz, just not having quite enough there to move on. As you can see there, just using his feet, being very practical with what he's got.
As we move back to the line, we have Mateusz Waldrzyk versus Maximilian Maikos there. So, Brandon, what do we think here? We have Maximilian off that bye run. We have Mateusz coming off that win with Wojciech Fabiszek. we could be in for a very, very good battle here. The track seems to have gripped in a little bit more as well. There's a lot of sun there. I'm actually looking at the weather. It says 25 degrees there at the moment. So that track is gonna get hotter and hotter as more cars do laps around it. So I think we could be in for a little bit more of a exciting battle here, especially with these two beautiful, beautiful cars here. That E92 looks very stock. It's not stock, trust me. And when you look over at the S14 there of Maximilian, that is anything but stock. It is a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful car. So we will see what the start line marshal has now for us. I believe we should have lights any second now as we get them to leave the line. Guys, getting very hot, just trying to fan the doors, get some of that heat out of the cars.
Definitely, those engines are going to be running hot, especially after the first runs, as the Starlight Marshal now gets them ready, gets them notified. As you can see there, Wojciech in the background getting his tyres, pressures checked. But here we go, that is irrelevant now, as we have this S14 leading in this E92. Nice initiation there in the lead. Maybe a bit of a gap forming already in outside zone 2, but manages to bring it back as they transition into outer 2 now. Doing a nice job as they come around outer 3, but there is a gap forming between the two of these drivers as they come around to outside zone 4. He's got to make a dive, he's got to do something, as he is the Skosov Motorsport representative in this class as well, as he comes around and across the line. There wasn't really much there in the chase, and the lead was really tidy.
Yeah, that car of Maximilian, that S14, is incredibly, incredibly fast as we see him powering through inner clip 1 and outer zone 1. We can see Mateus trying to do as much as he can to get into that proximity, and he's just struggling ever so slightly. Again though, going down to this track and how it's laid out, it's all about timing in the chase here. If you don't time your transitions absolutely perfectly, you can be left with that big gap there in proximity. So coming down onto clip 4 here, and as they transition, we'll see Mateus try to make a dive here, and he does make up some proximity, but by this stage Maximilian is just out of there. He is gone. Those tires are spinning up, causing a lot of smoke, and we just have Mateus following him out a little bit after. So we will see what the judges make of this one. It was a very good battle. We'll see how close we can get it.
Definitely.
Wait. Look at this track. It looks beautiful too. I'd love to be there
Yeah,
right now.
I would.
Anyway,
Yeah, I'd love to
swapping
visit this
around.
place.
We go on a little trip, me and you, next year, Brandon. We'll go to
Oh
Słomczyn.
yes. Oh yes, definitely. We'll try and get my MX-5 up and going. We'll do some drifting there. I know you will hate it, but I'm going to force you to drive it.
Okay, that's fine. I'll do it. I won't say no to driving a car.
Good. But now we have Maximilian in the chase with Matish in the lead. Obviously, you've just got the Starlight Marshals there, just blowing some air into the intercoolers to try and cool, and the radiators, of course, just to try and cool them down to make sure they don't overheat going into the second run, because that is the last thing you want, and potentially damaging an engine. And it's not an expensive mistake.
Get in our countries where we have to keep blowing air into our intercoolers because it's usually cold where we are anyway. So
it depends. Sometimes you might want a car in his chaser. Generally does need it from time to time. It depends on the overall temperatures on the
well,
day.
you wouldn't need it in an MX-5. Let's put it that way.
Those 4 cylinders do like to get a bit hot. They run very rich.
When you blow a head gasket, that could do it. Anyway,
Yes,
you get
definitely.
lights here for the second half of this run. Mateus out in front, Max to chase in. So they come down that main straight here. Mateus to initiate in that E92. Max following him in nice and closely here. He's going to be onto the spotter telling him what to do. So Max doing very, very nicely timed transitions here. Like I said earlier on, timing is everything. Max doing everything he can to stay on the score of that E92. Doing a very, very nice job in the chase, and Mateus doing a very, very tidy job in the lead as they come around outer zone 6, and Max drops in shallow there. So maybe what happened there, Brandon, to Max in the inner clip coming down to last zone there?
I'm not too sure. I'm guessing he's just misjudged where he needed to be. But yeah, that was definitely interesting. It could have been a lot closer in that chase overall as well. As you can see, they're trying to get the dive going into outer 2, which just comes up a bit shallow and isn't where he needs to be. And obviously, even cutting the track, he's still struggling to get into that pocket. So we'll have to see what the judges think of this as they come through outside zone 4. There isn't really much here in the chase. Like, there's not much argument. As you can see, this is where it gets interesting, coming through out of 5. Just trying to get into the pocket, but potentially you can see the car there just jolt, and potentially the car was just dying off of power and needed a clutch kick, and it just didn't react the way you wanted to.
Yeah, as we get both drivers out of the car there, they'll shake hands, they'll exchange a little bit of congratulations, as they wait for the judges' scores to drop in. And we do have a winner, and the winner is Mateusz Wojdarczyk, going through to the top 4 there. And we will
I love this sport. I do, absolutely. I love this sport. I love the camaraderie between the drivers. Obviously, we're all here for the same thing, and I just love the fact that we all embrace each other. We all congratulate each other. But now we do move on to our top 4, which is going to be Patrick Detmer versus Magdalena. We have Wojciech versus Mateusz. This is a very interesting top 4, and it is... So we are into our top 4 now of the first round of DMP 2025, the Polish Drift Championship here at Słomczyn. What a day it has been so far, and it is only the start, as obviously we do have the Pro Class shortly after this. So make sure you stay and tune in for that, where the action gets even more intense. But now we have Patrick on the line leading in Magdalena in that E36. And obviously he's feeling really comfortable, really confident, and he's been really consistent so far. A very calculated driver, as Magdalena has been doing very well as well. She's got a very gripped up and fast car. So we'll have to see what happens in this run as we kick off our first top 4 of the season. As you can see there, I think we do have some of the Pro Class drivers just getting ready to line up and prepare for some practice. I'd like to agree now we have Patrick leading in Magdalena. Nice initiation there from Patrick. Magdalena could be a little bit closer there as they come through outside zone 1, doing a nice job in the lead. Magdalena kind of getting a bit choked up in the chase, but manages to get it back together as they come through outside zone 3, doing a lovely job between the two of them so far. As they come around 4. Oh, Magdalena getting a bit close there in the transition, getting a bit risky, but goes for the dive into the pocket, get very close and spins almost over. Oh, that is very unfortunate there, but Patrick doing a solid job in the lead.
Yeah, Magdalena doing a very good job there to make up proximity, as we see Patrick initiate in here to inner clip 1 and outer zone 1. When we transition back here, Magdalena just comes through and makes a bit of a dive here on the second transition, and does make up a little bit of proximity, but really where she makes up the proximity is here, where she misses outer zone 2 on purpose to do that, puts on a bit of angle and absolutely opens the throttle bodies on that car to try get up close to that beautiful E36 of Patrick Detmer. When they transition back after outer zone 4 here, coming into the D cell, this is where we saw that little bit of a mishap there. So Magdalena comes in with a huge amount of speed. You can see the speed difference between the two drivers there. Magdalena dials on a lot of angles, tries slow the car, but ends up over rotating a little bit and straightening the car. So let's roll it back to the start line here, see what happens with the next half of this battle, Brandon.
Yes, indeed, Kian. And it's definitely going to be an interesting one, that is to say the least, as obviously Patrick has been a very calculated driver so far, so we'll have to see what he does against Magdalena.
Yeah, absolutely. So Magdalena looking happy as ever. She's always happy in that S15, so delighted to see that. So we wait for the light to go green here. Magdalena pulls away from the line out of the start line chicane. Patrick Detmer goes initiated in behind her. So Magdalena through outer zone 1, through the Manji section. Patrick following very close here as Magdalena misses outer zone 2, and Patrick follows her through there, puts on all of the horsepower to that E36 and transitions back here. Magdalena into the D-cell zone, does a little bit of handbrake stab to get that car into position, just overshoots outer zone 6 a little bit. Patrick doing a very tidy job in the chase position there, Brandon.
Yes, indeed. Obviously, Patrick knowing about the mistake possibly from his spotter about Magdalena's chase, so he knows that he's got essentially nothing to prove here. He just needs to not make any mistakes and keep it nice and tidy. And as you can see, they're coming through here. Obviously, could be closer, but he's trying to play it safe as much as he can as they come around past through 3, coming in towards 4. It is a textbook safe chase from Patrick, once again, just like in his top 8 battle. Magdalena trying to do everything she can to kind of just get Patrick to make a mistake, but it's just not happening. Patrick's just sitting there, he's chilling, he's like, yeah, we'll just go for a casual drive, and then yeah, he got the job done, I'd say. Obviously, I'm not a judge, but as you can see there, we do have a result, and it is Patrick Detmer moving on into, I think it's the final.
It is indeed
the final. Oh boy. But obviously, Magdalena, obviously, still getting a chance for a podium at the battle for 3rd. So we're going to be moving on to our next battle, which will decide the next driver for the battle for 3rd and the final, who will be going against Magdalena and Patrick.
And in that battle, we have, I believe it is Wojtek Godwicz and Mateusz Waldrzyk going up against each other. We have them on the line. BMW versus BMW yet again. E36 versus E92 yet again. So let's see how this battle goes here for Wojtek and Mateusz. Again, 2 very different generations of cars, both running in and around 700 horsepower. Mateusz having a little bit of an upper hand with 77 extra horsepower, and his number is 777 as well. So we will see what happens here as the lights go red, and we will wait for them to go green. And Mateusz leaves the line through the start line chicane here, and we have Wojtek in the rear, getting ready to initiate through inner clip 1 out to outer zone 1. Look at this whoa, look at these transitions here. This chase is off the charts. This is the best chase we've seen all day, as we nearly have a bit of contact coming through around to outer zone 4, dropping tires onto the curb as we come down to outer zone 5 into the D cell. Look at this chase run from, oh my god, I forget it's Wojtek. Oh my god, look at that, Brandon. What a chase run. Break this down for us.
That was absolutely phenomenal. Closest we've seen to one in the initiation so far, following through inner 1 to outer 1. And as you can see here, the mimicking here from Wojtek, absolutely incredible. Mimicking the style, the angle, the timing is immaculate. And obviously he finds that dive to get back on towards the door. Reading him in slowly as well. Obviously a little mistake there from Mateusz, just not being able to get into outer 3 properly, which then doesn't set him up well for outer 4. But then Wojtek just comes in and absolutely puts it straight toward almost wheel to wheel, and it's a risky move, but he makes it work.
Yeah, this is what I was saying a bit earlier about timing. If you look at the timing of the transitions there from Wojtek, they are perfect. And that really, really does help you in the chase position to absolutely get that proximity dialed in. He'll be very happy with that run. His spotters will be on the radio. Just go do your best lead run you can. And Mateusz's spotters will be on the radio to him saying, listen, you need to absolutely put it on the door of that E36 right now. As we get the cars cooled down, Mateusz has 2 people cooling down his car at the moment, trying to get some heat out of them engine bays, out of the intercoolers, out of the radiators, and we will get them ready to go off the line.
Of course, these cars absolutely pushing the limits. Wojtek definitely stepping up and kind of just said to himself, he was like, right, I've been close, but I can get closer. Watch this. And he's been doing that consistently throughout this bracket so far. And he's doing a seriously, seriously good job. And he wants to get into that final. As you can see, he's been pushing harder and harder with each battle. And he knew in this chase he had to start really going in a lot closer, a lot faster. And it seems to be really paying off. So we'll have to see if his lead is consistent as his chase.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's hope that we get fireworks here. I think we will. Both these cars very equally matched power-wise, and they are on that control tire. So I think we could have some sparks flying here. Will we see some contact, Brandon, do you think? I'm kind of thinking we might, as we get the lights illuminated there. And they go green. We have Wojtek to leave the line, leading out Mateusz here as we initiate into the inner clip 1. A little bit of a gap there from Mateusz as they transition back. Mateusz is back on the back end of that E36 as they fired around. A little bit of a gap forming there from Mateusz as they come around into outer zone 4, down into the decel zone, outer zone 5. Mateusz is going to try and make up all that proximity back as Wojtek does a very tidy lead run there, and we will get them down to the decision area. Brandon, look at this.
Yeah, definitely Wojtek doing the perfect job that he needed to do in the lead. Unfortunately, Mateusz just not really having an answer for Wojtek's chase. Didn't bring the same heat, didn't bring the same kind of impact, and it just didn't really work out for him. He couldn't get the pace down. Very equal in pace in some form, but obviously he just didn't time it right. And obviously in this course, it's very important and imperative that you get your timing down correct. Otherwise, you can just be left. And as you can see there, Mateusz doing a good job trying to mimic the lead line. But obviously, I don't think that will be enough for him to move into the final. But he potentially will be, well, either way, he's going to be meeting someone as he gets another chance to battle in the battle for third or the final.
So as we get them down into the decision area, Wojtek already out of the car. So get them out of the cars, get our marshal down there to give them the decision. So we wait for the judges to drop in their scores. Look at these two cars, Brandon. It is insane to think that these are both M3s.
That is very true. Two very different generations. I do miss the boxy looks of them. But it's Wojtek going into the final. Mateusz will be meeting Magdalena in the battle for third. But we do have some cars up at the line, which I have not seen before. Which is
so
very
we
interesting.
Actually have a full E36 final.
That's going to be awesome. That is going to be very, very cool. I do believe we could potentially be... I'm not too sure what's going on here. I'm very intrigued. I see cars at the start. Is this a team? Have we got a team demo?
Maybe a bit of a demo here while we let everybody go get tires, get sorted out for the final battle. Yeah, we have some team drift going on here. Look at this. Put it on.
Oh, they're just having some fun.
Hell yeah, that's what I want to do. Get me in one of them cars.
See, now this is very much Irish style, doing some rings.
Yeah, the yellow hatch S13 there, big fan, love that.
We'd love to see it. Everyone's
knows
just
the
enjoying...
Irish Drift Championship, Irish Drift Series. Dennis Murphy used to have a car like that, very similar. I love the yellow S13s. I think they just work
these
very,
all
very
young
well.
drivers? Are these all
Are
young
they?
drivers?
That would be very
this
cool.
looks like it. Oh, that is amazing. That is amazing stuff there. You showing off the young talent, the new generation. That is some awesome stuff.
Brandon,
there.
let's just hope that we're still commentating by the time these guys are in competition.
I mean, I could see him in competition soon. I'll be perfectly honest. But
Better
it's really
donuts
cool
than
to
I've ever
see.
done.
Let's be honest, though, they're in cars that are nicer than anything I will ever touch. I'm quite jealous.
Yeah. Oh, we have a little go-kart here as well.
Oh, that is
out.
awesome. Please tell me
Yes.
please tell me he's going to do some skits on in the go-kart. As we have Patrick coming up behind him. That is quite intimidating, seeing that E36 coming towards the go-kart.
Yeah.
Oh, that thing is
good.
flying. That thing is flying. That thing's got so much speed behind it.
Can we get a speed trap on that there, please? Thank you. Oh my God! Look at the speed of that thing. Wow.
He is flying around the course.
I can't imagine that's very easy with all the tire marbles as well.
Getting some rings in there in the go-kart. Love to see it. Oh, he is having
People
fun.
come back. Jesus, look at the speed
think-
of that.
It is flying. I genuinely didn't expect it to be that quick. That has
That
got
is
a proper
amazing.
motor on that.
I'm a big
at him,
fan of
just-
that. And I believe, do I spot an Orland? I do. I spot an Orland sticker on that. So, there you go.
That is awesome. Lovely bit of entertainment before we go into the battle for third and final.
Oh, he's gone
Whoa,
off
he
into
goes
the grass.
grass. Too many beans.
Just trying to
too
cool
many
the tires a
beans.
bit, that's all.
Yeah, that's true.
That's all.
Oh, that
technical
looks like
there.
that looks like it's so much fun. I would love to give that a go.
Okay, maybe I don't want to do drift cars anymore. I want to do that. That looks like so much fun.
He is just flying around. Obviously, the steering rack on those are much smaller, so the inputs are very sensitive as well on
See,
those
this is the thing, I
go-karts.
don't think they really even have a steering rack. I've worked on a few of these smaller carts before, and they usually just have a shaft with kind of 2 pickup points for two shafts to go out and steer your hub. So
Oh,
they
yeah,
are
you
quite
might be
positive.
correct.
So yeah, it looks like I don't think.
Oh,
it really
I've just
even
been
matters.
told-
That thing is just great crack.
I've just been told that it's a 125cc go-kart.
Wow.
That is insane.
140
That is so-
kilometers an hour. Where we are being told, oh my God.
That is insane. Oh, we have the motorbike show but back on again as well. This dude, once again, if he weren't here for qualifying, he was here for a little show as well in qualifying. And he is as bow as you can get, and I love it. If you've ever been to London, this is quite common.
Yeah, actually, do you know what? You're not far off there, Brandon. But I don't know if you've ever seen this. There was like a Gymkhana style video a couple of years ago. I'm talking maybe 10 years ago, where it was 2 bikes doing tandems, drifting with extended swing arms and stuff like that. And that was one of the things I remember as a kid watching, going, yes, drifting is so much fun. But it was 2 bikes. So maybe this is something to do with that. Maybe there's a championship here somewhere for something like this. I'd really hope. I'd love to see that. The skill that takes
Oh,
is
definitely.
unbelievable.
There's got to be a competition for everything, surely. Look at that. Just absolutely
I'm gonna have
burning
to-
the tyres off of that.
I'm gonna have to Google how much a motorbike tire is.
Thing is,
'Cause I
though,
can't
they have
imagine
different
they're cheap.
compounds, different sizes. And look at that, wave to the crowd. What a guy. That is a lot of talent. But we now have our battle for third, which is Mateusz and Magdalena. 2 very different cars. Once again, you've got that E92 in the lead with that S15 in the chase. And yeah, this is going to be very, very interesting. I do believe they are both representing Spasov Motorsport as well. I think they are teammates.
Well, if that's the case, Spasov Motorsport having a very good weekend in the semi-pro class here. So we will see Magdalena giving us a bit of a wave yet again and giving us another big smile.
Go
Again,
on, slide it in.
you-
Slide the window
Yeah,
in.
and slide the window. 3, 2, 1. And she didn't do it. Oh,
There
she
it
did. Aha.
is.
Yeah, definitely hard to not have a smile on your face in that car, I would say, as Mateusz locked in there with the sunglasses on, looking very dapper there, with his Stilo helmet on there as well, I believe that is.
Yep.
As we wait for the start line marshal to give the word to send these guys down the main straight here.
Here we go, Kian. We have Mateusz in the lead, Magdalena in the chase. We'll have to see what happens with this one because Magdalena is obviously very gripped up as they come into the initiation. Lovely start there by the chase. Oh, but Magdalena just getting a bit risky there in the chase as they come around now into outer 2. Could have been a bit deeper there in the lead, but Magdalena's trying to get the dive, and she does. She tries to find the pocket, might be falling back once again. But can she get the transition down? Yes, she can. Coming around now into, oh, but making contact. Contact has been made in the last corner. Magdalena pushing up her front arches, just going too hard into that last corner.
Yeah, let's have a look at this there. So Magdalena gets a little bit of a late initiation there behind Mateusz. And when we come around here, Mateusz doing a very tidy job. But Magdalena, I think, just getting caught on angle there as she comes back around. You see that late transition pushing her a little bit wide through the Manji section. And then she has to make up a lot of proximity here for Mateusz. As they come around the big sector 3 here, Magdalena cuts some track and gets right up onto the door of that E92, doing exactly what she needs to do there to recover from that little bit of a mistake there. As they come down into the decel zone here, though, this is what we really want to look at, is the contact. So Magdalena will make another dive here and cannot slow that car down. Hits the rear first and then hits the front, pushing that wheel arch up on the S15 there. And obviously we have Mateusz shutting down as well after that contact. So we will have to see what the judges make of that one. I believe Magdalena might be at fault for that, unfortunately, but really, really exciting battle so far. We'll have to go back and see the second half of this if both cars are ready to run. Magdalena obviously showing out for the female side of drifting, which is lovely to see in a third and fourth battle here in the semi-pro class. We would love to see her go further than that in the future, I think, Brandon.
Definitely. It's a case of now just checking over the cars and making sure that they're both fit to drive. Obviously, there is panel damage, but hopefully there's nothing deeper than that. I just realised I had my microphone muted for a while, so hopefully that wasn't the case when I was in the run.
No, you were talking during the run, so you're all good.
My memory is awful, honestly. I'm like a goldfish. I think I'm doing one thing, and then next minute later I'll be like, did I do that? It's honestly, it is terrible. But hopefully there's not too much damage between two of the cars. Obviously you could see there was quite severe panel damage on Magdalena's S15, but couldn't really see much going on with Mateusz's car. So fingers crossed they can get those panels sorted quickly, and we'll get them back onto the line.
Yeah, so just getting some info here in from our lead judge, David Callas. Magdalena's at fault for the crash, so I believe that will call that battle. There is obviously some sort of deeper damage there, so because there's no 5-minute rules, that will be the end of the battle, and that will be Mateusz taking third spot for your third and fourth playoff here in the semi-pro. We will just get confirmation of that, but I am hearing that Magda is at fault there.
I did notice on Magdalena's car that it looked like her rear driver's side wheel was towed out quite a lot. I don't know if that was just me. Something I thought I saw. We'll have to see.
And it looks like Mateusz is actually missing a kidney there on the Beamer. That's a common thing in the likes of Ireland and the UK. Brandon, we're well used to seeing that.
Oh yeah.
But
half the time they just get stolen.
as we have Mateusz there standing waiting for the decision, I think we should be getting that decision confirmed now in a second. As Mateusz giving the crowd a bit of a wave there, as we have our next battle, our final, lined up on the line behind there with the modal start line. We have Wojtek versus Patrick Detmer there. Two E36s ready to do battle, as we're still waiting for the decision to drop in here. And look, there's a huge crowd there now today, Brandon. Lovely to see so many people showing up for the national championship, supporting the local championships. Definitely something that, if you're in any country, you should be doing. if you're into drifting, go support your local championship, go support your local tracks. Definitely keeps the motorsport alive.
Definitely. And we have our Polish commentators there giving us a wave. Handsome chaps. And it's good to see, like, we have two teams for commentary this season. Obviously, you've got the English side, which is us, and then you have those two lovely fellas doing the Polish side, doing the native language side, should I say. And we're just waiting on confirmation, like Kean was saying. Mateusz kind of just chilling, doing his thing, just slowly. There goes
And the bumper has come off.
It decided, no, I'm done. I'm fed up.
And the bumper budget has gone up for Mateusz.
Hopefully it'll be a simple one, but we do have our final now, which is Wojciech versus Patrick. Wojciech obviously in the chase. Both E36s, both very similar looking as well. Very similar GTR style kits. And, I do believe they're very similar in power.
I think 700 horsepower each. 630. Yeah, so not a huge difference there. So we could see a very close battle here, Brandon.
Potentially, yes. Obviously, Patrick being very dialed in on the lead, but Wojciech also being very dialed in the chase. So this could be a very close battle as we just wait on our start line marshal. Checking both drivers already. Here we go. The final of the first round of the semi-pro class of DMP2025. Wojciech versus Patrick. Patrick leading in now. Two E36s, two Warriors. Look at Wojciech though, right there on the door from the get-go. Patrick doing a lovely job though in the lead so far as they transition now towards outside zone 2, doing a lovely job in the chase. Look at Wojciech right there on the door, nearly wheel to wheel on Patrick's car as they come around into the latter half of the course as they transition across the track into outside zone 5. Look at the proximity for Wojciech, but they spin. What happened there? Oh my word. I can't. My excitement. My heart.
I believe there was contact there in that last section of the track. We'll have to have a look back at the replay here, but wow, what a battle here. The chase driving from Wojciech is on point at the moment. He is super dialed in with that car. We'll have to have a look and see who is at fault at that. The judges will have to have a very, very close look at that. But if we get a replay here, we'll dive into this. So let's have a look. Off initiation, both drivers extremely close, transitioning and flicking them cars in at the exact same time, coming through inner clip 1 and outer zone 1. Look at the proximity here from Wojciech. That transition didn't even make sense as they transition here again back to outer zone 2, coming around the big section here, the big flowing section as they put that power down in both ME36s. And we'll see the proximity here from Wojciech having a bit of a wobble there just to make sure that he doesn't hit that lead driver. Coming down into outer zone 4 here, we get a transition back, and let's see what happens in the decel here, because Wojciech definitely does make a bit of a dive to go more wheel to wheel, and he does make contact. So I wonder if we could get a closer shot on that. Would we be able to see brake lights in the lead position there from Patrick Detmer? And we'll have to wait and see what the judges make of that one, I think. Brandon, what do we have in our second run here? This is unbelievable stuff. Patrick giving us a little bit of a shrug. I don't really know what happened there. As we go over to Wojciech, and we see what he makes of that, and he's giving us the thumbs up. He's ready to go as we wait for the start line marshal to give the word to go, Brandon.
Yes, definitely. Unfortunately, Wojciech just getting a bit too crazy. Obviously, incredible chase up until that last corner. But now Patrick has it all in his hands, potentially on a 10-0 advantage. So he doesn't really have to do much here. But will he push? Will he push onto the door of Wojciech? He gets nice and close there as they come around into the middle section in that magic. But look at the transition from Patrick. Absolutely crazy stuff as they come around to outside zone 3, doing a solid job between the two of them, getting nice and deep into outside zone 4 as they transition now for the last time, coming around to the last zone, outside zone 6. But Patrick shuts down, and that is what happened. Oh no!
I think he might have a clutch issue there. He just jumped the line there. Now let's have a look at this, because we don't really know who was at fault at the first run there, whether it was Patrick or Wojciech. So Patrick doing a savage job in the chase position here as we come through the Manji section. transition back here. He does manage to get back on the door there, but when the power goes down, Wojtek managed to just pull a little bit of a gap here coming out of outer zone 3. Now, when we come around to outer zone 4, you can see that gap is just developed, and we'll get a transition here, and where Patrick will make that dive. And let's see, do we see the rear wheel spin up again from Patrick? No, we don't. So I wonder, has he broken a shaft, or is he having clutch issues there? Because you can see afterwards, he does try to jump the car, it stops, and then it does a little bit of a hop. So I'm wondering, did the clutch decide to give out there?
It wouldn't be a drifting. It wouldn't be a drift championship if there wasn't drama with mechanical. Honestly, we can't escape it. Nobody is safe from it. But it looks like he did make it to the finish line. Should I say the holding area? So the car can move on its own power. So I'm wondering if he's just misshifted.
Maybe a half shaft or something on one side there. So we'll have to see what comes out of this. And we do have a decision, Brandon.
And it is a one more time. So we get them
one
back
more
out.
time. These guys getting to go again, Brandon. We're getting to see another great battle. Oh my god, I love this. I love drifting.
Yeah,
So we're gonna
for this one, we've been, again, a little bit split it. For us, it was a very similar discussion which we had in the previous battle, where it was Włodarczyk against Malaczynska. There was also, from my perspective, it was a little bit more slowing down than it should behind the deceleration zone. However, the other judges thought that the deceleration was not that bad to actually allow for the contact itself.
So there you have it.
So that's the thing. So for the contact, it was fault Godziewicz. In ratio 2-1. So one judge was blaming Detmer and two judges were blaming Godziewicz. And because of that, when there was that zero mistake in the second run, then two judges were for one more time and one was for Godziewicz.
So there we go. That is the reasoning behind that call. Very, very good job there from our judges, making sure that they make this as fair as they can. And to be fair, I am more than happy to watch these two go again, as Wojtek being absolutely insane in the chase. And this is the best driving I have seen in a long time. And this is only semi-pro. So these guys are absolutely sending it hard, even if it's honestly, it is crazy. Like the level steps up every time.
Yeah, absolutely. So we will see another great battle here one more time in our final battle, which is unbelievable to see. We always love seeing one more times, but especially when it's in a final between two drivers that are absolutely on rails in two very evenly matched cars. So we'll have a look here again just to see. So Wojtek out in the lead here.
Around into the last section, you can see here Wojtek just getting a nice bit of proximity, but as he comes around into the last section, gets a lot of speed, has to put on a nice bit of angle, and obviously more momentum going into that corner meant he was just, the contact was imminent, and unfortunately that is just how things are. That is the nature of the sport. One little mistake can make all the difference in a battle. As we have the pro grid now starting to prepare and starting to grid as well. As you can see there, we've got all of the kind of holding areas everywhere, and we've got the paddock, view of the paddock to your right, looking absolutely insane. Everyone's stepping up in their paddocks, getting really nice gazebos, tents, making themselves look a lot fancier in the pits as well. And you can see there's a helicopter to the right there. I noticed that one of our social media presenters, she was going around kind of showing off the track in the helicopter, and we do get some really nice views around here, as we have a lot of spectators moving around. You can see all the sideline marshals, all the different media camera crews just doing their thing. It's really cool to see everyone's just doing their jobs, as it's a big operation, so there's a lot going on. It's a lot that goes into making this possible. So you don't seem to, it's one of those, it's hard to kind of get the scale of how big this is until you start really looking into the nitty and gritty. But as you can see here, we have Wojciech back in the chase, back at the line. They've got new tires, they're all fresh, all ready to go, and we have Patrick in the lead as we prepare to send them once again down the main straight for their one more time. And this is going to be very interesting, as Wojciech is going to be going hard as well as Patrick. His leads have been very good. Wojciech's chases have been very good. So we'll have to see what they do as the lights go green. E36 versus E36. Big kit and big kit. Two very different style of driving though. Wojciech just a bit tentative on the initiation in the chase, but Patrick doing a lovely job so far as they come around into outer zone 2. Very nice through there, but Wojciech gets on to the dive. He's right there with Patrick. Could be a little bit closer compared to his last run, but I think he's in his mind, he's a bit concerned of making contact once again. But as they come around now into outer zone 6, doing a lovely job and across the line.
Yeah, so we'll have a quick look at this here now. So a little bit of a gap at the start of the run, but that is taken care of quite quickly by Wojciech. As we transition back through the Manji section here, Wojciech does two very quick transitions, times his transitions quite well with Patrick. He's timed them the same time as Patrick did to make up that proximity so he could get that speed through that corner. As they come out of outer zone 4 now, come down into the D-cell zone, and Wojciech does make a bit of a dive here and gets up onto the door of Patrick and nearly hits him as Patrick is pulling out of the drift. Wojciech having to put on a lot of angle there in the end. So let's see how it goes in our second battle here. We could have a winner after this one, I believe. As we wait for the start line marshal to get everybody settled again.
Definitely, it's going to be an interesting one. Obviously, not the strongest chase from Wojciech in that last run. Obviously, Patrick doing his normal leads, just being very calculated, doing what he needs to do in the lead. But now it's just kind of, I do think Wojciech has kind of left everything open to Patrick to kind of just make it work. So we'll have to see what he does with this. Unless he could make a gap on Patrick, we'll have to see. It's all down to this last battle now. This last run.
Yeah, when we switched camera there to Patrick, he was fanning his face there, very hot inside that car, and you can see them cooling down both of the E36s there, trying to get some cool air flowing through those cars. Obviously this sport isn't light on heat, and that can do very serious damage to engines quite often. So you do not want to get your car too hot, and especially when you're running a track as fast as this, as hard as they have to drive the cars, these guys will be absolutely hammering the limiters of these E36s. It doesn't really matter what engine you have. If you're hitting the limiter on any engine, it's going to cause an awful lot of heat. So we wait for start line marshal to illuminate those red lights, and he does, Brandon.
Here we go. This is the final run. Hopefully we don't get another OMT. But here we go. We have Patrick chasing in Wojciech. we'll have to see what happens here. Nice flick initiation there. Little weight transfers. They come around into outside zone 1. Could have been a bit deeper there from Wojciech, but Patrick is right there where he needs to be. Right on the pocket, doing what he needs to do. Oh, but a bit of a bobble there from Wojciech, which does not help. That makes it a bit more difficult in the chase. As they come around to outside zone 5, Patrick just doing what he needs to do. Very calculated chase as they come across the line.
Yeah, very intelligent driving there from Patrick. Let's have a look at this here now. So a little bit of a gap there at the initiation, but that's okay because Patrick cuts a bit into that curb to get up onto the door. Does have to cut a little bit of angle through outer zone 1. When they transition back here, Patrick is cutting quite a lot of angle there. As we transition back to outer zone 2, this is where we really start to see Patrick reeling in Wojciech here. As he comes around, Wojciech starts to drop in a little bit earlier than Patrick, cutting a little bit of angle there, having a bit of a bobble. Makes it a little bit of an issue for Patrick in the chase. As we transition back down to the decel zone here, we really see Patrick nailing the line there to keep with Wojciech and stay within that proximity window. So Patrick doing a very, very good job on both runs there. Wojciech not doing a whole pile wrong in his lead at all. And again, not a bad chase in his last run either. So we will see what the judges make of this one as we have those two beautiful E36 drivers sitting there now as we wait for a decision in the decision booth. I like this whole start line in the background for the decision area, Brandon.
Oh yeah, definitely. And two very well, it's a really nice setup, to be fair. Really, really nice. It makes things a lot simpler as well, because then they could just drive straight back into the pits. They don't have to be on the track itself. But yeah, these two guys definitely a bit nervous, I'd say, waiting for their result, because obviously this is a big one for the points. And oh, look at them. They're loving life. They're loving the sport. They love drifting. And obviously this is the first round of the season, so this is going to be setting the tone for the rest of the season in the semi-pro class. And this is deciding on who is the points leader for going into round 2. So we'll have to see as Patrick and Wojciech are there waiting. Who gets into first? Patrick Detmer is taking first place in the first round in the semi-pro class of DMP2025, and he almost falls off the E36. Oh, he is absolutely thrilled, but we can't take anything away from Wojciech. He did an insane job in this battle. He takes second place, which means, wow, that was just incredible between the two of them. And yeah, I do believe we are potentially
happy about that. Just a little bit.
Oh yeah, just a little bit. I mean, almost fell off the car. That was amazing.
Congratulations to both drivers, doing an incredible job there today in that semi-pro class. They will be delighted with their performance. And that is semi-pro.